everybody. Welcome to a special edition of The Drop. Greg Wyshynski, Arda, Öcal. You see the glasses on Greg Wyshynski's face. We are celebrating the dawn, the arrival of 2024. Happy New Year, everybody. Wish, I know that we have turned the calendar and you are in the festive spirit already. Have you made a New Year's resolution?
Yeah, I've decided I'm going to institute the Gremlins rule and not eat after midnight. Occasionally as a sports writer, as you know, the hours get a little weird. And you maybe grab a little sliceroo of pizza pie or some such after midnight on the road or sometimes in Brooklyn. And I am going to institute the Gremlins rule this year. No food after midnight, remembering, of course, that whiskey is not food.
Of course, no, that doesn't fall in any food group, so that is exempt. Any spirit, of course, is exempt from this rule. It's funny you mentioned timing and food. AJ Malesko and I had this long conversation about intermittent fasting. There was an NHL player that did it in the off season, and I was like, there's no way that I could do this for longer than a week. To be that diligent.
When I was at the apex of my good weight and also probably my attractiveness when I was in my 20s, I was working at a newspaper. And I had a diet that I called the coffee apple scotch diet, wherein I would just drink coffee all day. My lunch was an apple, usually a Granny Smith apple, and then I would eat a reasonable dinner, and by reasonable probably like too big. And then at night, I'd have a scotch. And now I look back on those years and say to myself that I have invented something that could be bigger than the South Beach diet because I looked great. But then I thought to myself, oh, it's because you were in your 20s and
your metabolism
you didn't automatically gain
fast.
weight by eating a Dorito. It's a completely different world we live in now and you get older. So for those of you out there, don't do the coffee apple scotch diet. Understand that it's probably just metabolism. That being said, I was svelte. I looked like Brad Pitt. It was incredible.
I'm sure you did. I'm sure the Mirror agreed that you looked like Brad Pitt. I thought dinner was scotch. I thought that's where you were going with that.
No. Dinner was a palpable
I had such
meal.
A deficit of a complete deficit of calories. I only had scotch for dinner.
It was a palpable meal, and then a glass of scotch to wind down the day. A reward for only having an apple for most of the day, I suppose.
So which NHL teams will be basking in coffee and apples, and which NHL team fan bases will be drowning their sorrows in scotch in 2024? That's what we will get to in a moment. But first, let's tie a bow on 2023 in the hockey world. Let's both pick one thing we loved and one thing we loved not so much, didn't like. Something to that effect. Yeah. Wish, why don't you go first?
Well, my highlight of 2023 was the Florida Panthers. Not only their whole playoff run, making it to the Stanley Cup final in a real surprising run that no one really predicted, but specifically beating the Boston Bruins in that first round series, going into it as one of the biggest underdogs we've ever seen. The Bruins set regular season records for wins and points in a season. They looked like a juggernaut. It was going to be a victory lap for Patrice Bergeron, a victory lap for David Krejci. And then the Panthers had other plans. And I will, again, never forget for the entirety of my career being in Boston in Game 7 and hearing that arena go deathly silent once the Panthers scored to win that game and win that series. And then the aftermath in the locker room of seeing everybody coming to the conclusion that this was the end of the Bergeron era. It truly was one of the more amazing sporting events I've ever covered and one of the more shocking moments that I've ever experienced. On the negative side, Arda, unfortunately, it has to be the Pride Night debacle that led to the specialty jersey debacle, that led to the Pride tape debacle, that led to the Marc-Andre Fleury Native American Heritage Night mask debacle. The dominoes all fell in a direction that was very, very frustrating and a terrible look for the league. And I think that's going to be one of the things we'll always, unfortunately, remember about the year 2023. What about you?
For me, Ovi passing Gordie Howe,
Oh
that
yeah.
is always going to be a big milestone naturally, truly kickstarting the chase for Gretzky. Of course, we have a while to wait. And this season has even given us a little pause in
Yeah.
terms of the great chase. But we all have hope and we all hold optimism that it will at some point happen in Ovi's career, regardless of what has happened in the last dozen games or so for Ovechkin. But that we will always have that moment. Even getting to Gordie Howe to 802 seemed like a Herculean task
Oh
at
yeah.
one point. And so for him to even get to that milestone is remarkable. So the fact that we're even talking about Gretzky is a wonderful thing as it pertains to the goal chase. For me, maybe in terms of negatives, I know I beat this drum a lot on this show. And to me, the biggest superstar, the best player in the game has to win a championship.
Mm.
I feel this viscerally to my core. We need Connor McDavid raising the Stanley Cup in the course of his career. It must happen. Whether it happens in the city of Edmonton, fine. If it doesn't happen in the city of Edmonton, fine. The name on the back has to say McDavid, and in those hands needs to be the most beautiful trophy in sports above his head. And the fact that did not happen last year, and quite frankly, the last couple of years, but specifically last year, is of cause for concern. They've used the term cup or bust for this season, and to me, that is a big disappointment for hockey fans in general that didn't happen.
Now, normally I disagree with you and say that a championship does not a legend make, but then I think about a player we just spoke about, Alexander Ovechkin, and I think about the idea that what would his career be treated as after he retires had the Capitals not won that Stanley Cup? And I shudder. I shudder to think about the conversations we'd be having about Ovi, let alone the conversations we'll have about McDavid if he never wins a championship.
And I don't want those conversations.
No.
I want Connor McDavid to go down as the greatest player of all time. Of course,
Whoa.
Gretzky is gonna occupy that forever. But Connor McDavid of our generation, I don't want, let me put it this way. I don't want an argument that is really team-based. I don't want that argument to exist for Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
Even one championship, like you said, with Ovechkin, at least he has that, and now he can resume in that conversation in the pantheon of the greatest of his time. Because
yeah, I mean, again,
I don't want that to be a detractor at
neither
all.
do I. Neither do I. Especially knowing that McDavid won't have an Olympic gold medal on his resume now that he is going to be playing in the era of American domination. So, like, he's got to win the cup.
My New Year's resolution is we don't talk about international competition on this show for all of 2024. Okay, you are banned. That is our New Year's resolution, Wish. All right. Okay. So the only time you can talk about it is when you have those glasses on, even when it's like April.
All right. Well, I'll keep the glasses close to me so I can definitely talk about this stuff again.
So we decided here on the drop to give you our top 10 countdown of what we believe. We put our heads together. We had an arduously long, minutes-long production meeting about this show. And we put together, we did put some thought into this. We put together the list of 10 stories we believe will be the biggest stories in hockey as we sit right now at this particular moment. What will be the 10 biggest stories in hockey in 2024? Do you want to alternate back and forth in revealing them?
Let me go number 10 first. Number 10 first will be, will the revamped NHL All-Star Game click? We have major changes for the All-Star Game this year in Toronto. Obviously, everybody knows they're bringing back the All-Star Draft. Get ready with your cameras for those last 4 picks. 4 teams, 3-on-3 hockey, and of course, celebrity co-captains helping out with the drafting of the teams, and some sort of celebrity that comes out and assures that we don't have another Phil Kessel moment at the end of the draft. Hopefully it is Phil Kessel, as we said about this on the drop a few weeks ago. And then, of course, the other thing is the revamping of the skills competition, where now we're going to have a limited 12-player field, 8 events. We're going to follow these players throughout the events. They're competing against each other. The $1 million prize at the end an event that Connor McDavid helped create. It's a whole big different vibe for the All-Star game. Whenever they make major changes, you always hope they're going to work. You always hope they're going to stick. And let's see if these changes actually make for a better event. I know it'll certainly be an enthusiastic environment in Toronto, being that it's a hockey mad city. But hopefully the changes they made to the All-Star game and the skills competition make for a better television event.
I will say I am in favor of the tinkering. I love the McDavid involvement. And if it does stick, then it's a genius move. So I'm all for what we are about to see at the All-Star game. And like I said on a recent episode of The Drop, maybe other superstars could get involved, sprinkling their own thoughts as a one-off even in future editions of the All-Star game. Perhaps the two names that I'll talk about on our list at number 9, Stats Watch, Connor Bedard and Alex Ovechkin. Of course, Ovechkin is the obvious one. Where is he in goals? Where is he in power play goals? Is he still at one power play goal? Like, where is that going to go? You had a great deep dive about Ovechkin's stats in a previous episode you can find in our archives where he's at so far this season. Will that improve? Connor Bedard, is he just going to continue to lead the rookies all through the season in goals and in points? And is that going to be a foregone conclusion? But how high can he go? What is his ceiling, and how will he compare to other first overall picks when the spotlight is bright on him? So those are two names. I'm sure there are more naturally, but two names that we are particularly interested in, Ovechkin and Bedard, for the rest of the season.
Yeah, in particular Bedard, because you're dealing not only with whatever his stats going to look like vis-a-vis other rookies. Will the Calder race be a runaway? Will it be close? Can guys like Luke Hughes make it interesting? Can Adam Fantilli make it interesting? He certainly heated up towards the end of 2023. And then also, what will that goal total at the end of the year ultimately look like? Is he going to score more than Austin Matthews had in his rookie season? Where is his rookie season going to rank within the ones we've seen in the last 25 or 30 years? There's a lot of intrigue, obviously, around what Bedard will end up doing as his rookie season continues.
Number 8.
Yeah. Will Jarmo Kekäläinen survive in Columbus? I shake my magic 8-ball and it says no. But I think obviously, the fallout of the Mike Babcock debacle, that was a big story from 2023. Jarmo Kekäläinen and John Davidson both said that their tenure in Columbus would probably be decided by the performance of the team on the ice. As the Blue Jackets closed out 2023, that performance was not very good. So the question is, when will the axe fall? Will it fall in the regular season? Will it be something after the season? Or does he somehow survive what has been a very tumultuous season for the Columbus Blue Jackets? Will Jarmo Kekäläinen still be the GM in Columbus is our number 8 story.
Let's keep the will the axe fall theme going in number 7, because the question that every single hockey fan, no matter what market you're in, always asks, no matter what hockey story it is what does this
about beliefs?
Thank you, Wish. Thank you very much. Your prize is to hear me talk about the Maple Leafs for the next minute. What will happen with Willie Nylander's contract status? What will happen about the future with Sheldon Keefe? What about the defense? What about the goaltending? All questions surrounding the Toronto Maple Leafs. Love them or hate them, they are an important part of the league. They're among the most valuable franchises in the NHL. And so long as the drought exists, we will always either ponder when they will finally break it or appreciate the sadness of fellow Toronto natives. So they will always be a story.
It will always be a story. And the problem for the Leafs right now is that the bar is set at winning a playoff round. Like, they raised the bar last season. So now we're dealing with even higher expectations than we usually have for this team in the playoffs. What will the reaction be if they fall short of those expectations? What will be the reaction if they somehow miss the playoffs? I don't think it's going to happen, but it's still mathematically possible. What about the Leafs is always going to be one of the top 10 stories, no matter what the year is. Number 6, we go from a team entrenched in its community to a team that may be moving at some point. The Arizona Coyotes. What are their arena plans? We keep hearing about the middle of the season being the time in which the Coyotes will unleash their new arena plans on the NHL. The latest we heard, according to the reports from Craig Morgan in Phoenix, is that it may be a arena spot somewhere outside of Phoenix, somewhere in that area. We'll see. We know for a fact that the NHL is expecting concrete plans from the Coyotes regarding where they're going to play after the Mullet Arena time is over. And if they can't deliver that, if it's not something that they can go forward on, knowing that there obviously is not going to be another public vote to get in the way, then we start having more conversations about places like Salt Lake City and Houston and places like that for this team. So what the Coyotes are doing arena-wise, what the future of the franchise is going to be a major subplot for 2024.
I'm shocked the segue that you didn't use was Austin Matthews' future team.
You know what?
But
this is why you're on TV. I'm a writer. Like, you know how to do this job, and I just fake it wearing funny glasses.
This is how we compliment each other. I can get us from like topic to topic, and then you deep dive the topic, and I'll just like I'll swing like Tarzan between the trees. Let me go north a little bit from Arizona into Alberta, and go to the northernmost city in the NHL, the Edmonton Oilers. Now, what I'm about to say, I want to be very clear. I believe the complete opposite.
All right.
And I think at this point, many people will also agree. But what if, just like the famous Marvel series in the 90s, what if the Edmonton Oilers do not make the playoffs?
No.
What if? Shocking, I know. What if McDavid and Draisaitl and Nugent Hopkins and Hyman and Nurse and Ekholm and that entire squad are on the outside looking in when it's all said and done in April? That would be a calamity for that team. It would be a disaster for the city and its fans. And there would be some massive questions, and there are already seismic changes. Look no further than the head coaching position. But what would happen, Wish, if this team did not make the playoffs? Imagine that scenario. What would happen?
Well, what would happen is that Connor McDavid would hire a new GM, probably, is what would happen. Just like he hired a new coach.
That's it? That's the one thing? And we're done? Just GM, that's it?
Yeah. You know, Connor would sit behind his desk in the executive suite and have the GMs come in, and he'd interview them, and he'd pick the new GM like he picked the new coach. Number 4 on our list
is anticlimactic. That was the most anticlimactic.
Not anticlimactic. Well, what am I going to say? They're going to fold the franchise?
Yes, they're going to move. Flames? They're going to have a second team in Phoenix. I don't know, something.
They're going to do what every other team does, which is blame somebody. It'll be Ken Holland, and then they'll just get a new GM and start over again, like they'll do until either Draisaitl or McDavid fulfills your Hockey Otani thing that you floated on a recent episode of The Drop.
Yeah.
Number 4 is the 2024 NHL Draft for several reasons. One, the location. It's going to be in the Sphere, we expect, in Vegas, which is going to be a really, really the most intriguing venue they've ever had the draft in, obviously, and certainly going to be a end times party for this version of the draft, where it's going to be decentralized going forward. So the writers, the draftees, the executives, everyone's going to be hitting Vegas and having a great time to give the draft a proper send-off. And then obviously the draft itself, the lottery. Will it be the Sharks, who refuse to be the doormats that we all want them to be? Will it be the Blackhawks, as Macklin Celebrini becomes the Draisaitl to Bedard's McDavid? I mean, there's a lot of intrigue as far as who ends up top of the lottery to grab one of these players in what is expected to be a pretty good draft. So the draft itself and the location of the draft make the 2024 draft one of the bigger stories of 2024.
One of the more recent drafts was from the PWHL. That is number 3, the dawn of the Professional Women's Hockey League. Now, if you listen to this show, you know that Wish and I are big supporters of women's hockey, in particular, what will come of the PWHL. No longer do we have fragmented leagues. This is one league. We have one entity presenting women's hockey at the very highest level, and all of the best players are playing in this league. And that, to me and to you, Wish, I know, a very optimistic outlook. We're hopeful that this will bring women's hockey to heights that other women's sports are currently enjoying, rightfully so. And we hope that that happens for women's hockey because these athletes are terrific and they deserve it. I also look forward to seeing how the PWHL will be integrated with different NHL teams, NHL participation. Obviously, the All-Star is a natural connection there. There will be a showcase during All-Star weekend. What else can we look forward to? So this is going to be a continuous story that we talk about here on the show, but also, will this be the era where they rise to the prominence they deserve?
Yeah, and for someone who's been covering the story since the dawn of the NWHL, it's exciting to see one league. It's exciting to see all the national team players playing in one league together. I just hope that the product on the ice, and I hope that the personalities behind this league shine so brightly that it blinds us from some of the more frustrating aspects of the league, like no nicknames for the teams, like the New York team playing in Connecticut and things of that nature. I just hope the hockey's great, and I hope that it captures an audience in year one, and then we just build from there. Number two, this is going to be a big one, folks. What is the future of Steven Stamkos with the Tampa Bay Lightning? My God, the shockwaves that were sent through the NHL when before the season it became apparent that Steven Stamkos would not have a contract extension with the Lightning. This is their captain. This is their franchise player, the face of the team in many ways. What is going to happen with him in the Lightning? Because the vibe from the Lightning and GM Julian Breezewell was, maybe we need to use that money elsewhere. And some of the struggles the Lightning have had this year tell you that maybe the supporting cast is not up to snuff. So what happens with Stamkos? Does he get traded? Oh my God, could you believe that? Does he resign? Does he go to free agency? What is the future of a franchise player with his franchise? By far is going to be one of the more intriguing stories, at least of the early part of 2024.
Yeah, that's always interesting when you have a franchise player, captain, Stanley Cup winner like that, where the future is uncertain with that club. What will happen with the franchises in February for years to come brings us to our number one item, and that is the NHL's participation in the Winter Olympics and what imminent decisions may come and what the future roadmap looks like. I will mention, recently, Commissioner Gary Bettman was at ESPN. He did give us a little bit of an outlook in terms of what the hopeful projection is. He essentially said, we like the regular season the way it is. There were questions about the in-season tournament with the NBA. He said that the break in February, if there was a situation where every 2 years there was a best-on-best tournament, imagine one, let's say the World Cup of Hockey occurs, 2 years later the Olympics, 2 years after that another World Cup of Hockey, and it alternates like that every 2 years. Let me ask you this, Wish. If that were the case, where it was alternating every 2 years like that, would that satisfy you for a best-on-best scenario?
Of course. I mean, like the Olympics are what I need. I need the Olympics. I mean, once you start going to the Olympics, you can't stop. It is the best tournament. It's the most meaningful tournament to the players. It's what I need. And I wish that the conditions were better. I wish the IOC was better. I wish they gave the NHL more for the NHL sending its entire product for no really cost or revenue benefit every 4 years to the Olympics. But that's what I want to see. The World Cup is nice. World Cup can be meaningful. World Cup can be fun. But the Olympics is the thing that I need to see. So if the commissioner is correct and we end up with that schedule, I'll be a happy boy, even made happier by the fact that the U.S. is going to win many, many gold medals in the next 10 years.
Now, just as a reminder, this is the last time we will speak of this in 2024 on the show. We will not have any exceptions. In fact, no international discussions with any of our guests either.
I think the rule should be if it comes up in a news sort of way, then obviously we have to talk about it. But I promise I won't bring it up every episode.
Yeah, sure. That remains to be seen. That does it for us here on the show. One last thing, just to tie a bow on 2023. Thank you all for listening. We really appreciate the support. We see the tweets, we see the posts on social media, and we really appreciate you listening to the show, whether you find us in audio form, wherever you get your podcasts, or on the NHL and ESPN YouTube. And if you have any ideas or any thoughts that you would like to see from us, feel free to reach out. We are just a tweet away. So thanks for listening. Happy New Year.
Bye.